press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Okay, students, children. So overall till now we have studied about motion in straight line, that too in horizontal motion. Straight line in horizontal direction we have studied as of all the classes what we have dealt with till now. So in that, right from the basics of the definitions, right, the equations of motion for uniform acceleration, all the kinematic equations what we have studied, how you need to apply those equations in different cases we have seen, even with some of the examples we have studied, and corresponding graphs we have studied in the previous session. So that means for all uniform accelerated bodies, how you need to consider for the graphs. So like displacement time graph, velocity time graph, acceleration time graph. So how you need to write for it we have studied in the previous session. See, in parallel to this we have also studied if the bodies are not moving with uniform acceleration, right, how we need to solve the problems based on calculus or differentiation and integration. Also a few problems we have come across, that part we have done. So next thing, vertical motion. Till now we have studied the horizontal motion, right, in a straight line. So now it is our turn to have some discussion related to the vertical motion. Horizontal motion we have done till now. Now it is what? Vertical motion. Vertical motion. And the two headings we are going to study here. One is freely falling body, and the other one is a body which is going to be thrown up. Definitely they are going to travel in the straight line path. What is the nature of those motion? How that particular motion it is when a body is dropped from certain height and a body which is going to be thrown up. If you observe, if I am going to throw a body vertically up, definitely it will goes to the maximum height, and once again from there it is going to return back in the same path in which it has traversed. Okay, so why it is happening so? What is the major reason for it? Even if I am going to drop a ball somewhere at this height, what happens? Will it be staying there itself if I am going to leave it, or whether it is going to make or whether it is moving towards the earth? Obviously it will be moving towards the earth. Reason behind the motion of the body in vertical direction is the concept of gravity. What is that? Gravity. Only because of gravity, particularly on this planet which we are talking, right, on the earth, because of this concept of gravity, somewhere above the surface of the earth if I am going to drop a ball is going to be falling freely only under what? Gravitational force of attraction. See, the earth is going to exert some force on the ball, means this is in turn related to Newton's universal law of gravitation. Always if any two massive particles if I am having, there will be force of attraction existing between the two massive particles. Because of that force of attraction, what happens? One ball is attracted towards the other, this ball even attracted toward the other. If I take earth as a big mass, whose mass is centered at the center of the earth, and this is a small stone whose mass is some small mass I have taken. These two masses, mass of the earth and mass of the ball, are separated by certain distance. There will be force of attraction between them. Force of attraction means both the bodies should move towards each other. But here earth is gigantic. You can't see the motion of the earth towards that ball. But still, because of that heavier mass, you can't see the motion of the earth towards the ball. If you are going to drop this ball, right, definitely ball is moving toward the center of the earth. That is because of what? Gravitational force. And if there is some gravitational force, what is the acceleration that leads for gravitational force is nothing but acceleration due to gravity. The acceleration which is obtained due to the force of gravity or gravitational force. So that itself we used to call it as acceleration due to gravity. Small letter g, you have to remember this. What is the acceleration with which the ball is moving down now? A equals to what? G. Is there anyone applying some force on it continuously? Is there anyone applying some force? Externally, am I applying any force continuously? I have dropped here. After dropping, have I applying any force on the body? No, I am not applying any external force on it, but still it is acted upon by a force called what? Gravitational force. And hence the body is supposed to have Acceleration equals to what? Acceleration due to gravity g. So now, what is the direction in which this acceleration due to gravity is going to be? Always toward the center of the earth. Why? Because this is attracted toward the center of the earth. That's why acceleration due to gravity, always it is going to be directed toward the center of the earth, or above the height. If I say, it is always in the downward direction. Okay, so this is one point you have to remember when we started about what discussion of the vertical motion. If I want to say a body is said to be in vertical motion, throughout it is going to be acted upon by force of gravity, for which acceleration of the body throughout the motion will be equals to g, and it will be in which direction? Downward direction. It is always directed in which direction? Downward direction. That means accelerate means what? Speed up the body. You have to speed up, rate of increase, rate at which the speed is going to increase. This acceleration due to gravity g is trying to increase the speed of the body. That's why if I am going to drop here, what happens? This body is going to increase its speed in the downward direction. That's why you are going to see its motion in the downward direction instead of upward direction. Got the point? So that is about acceleration due to gravity, what you have to remember. So when it comes to, this is the concept of gravity, always the value of g, it is directed in which direction? Downward direction. Or if you take on a reference surface, reference, if I am going to take it as surface of the earth, it is always directed towards the center of the earth or in the downward direction. Okay. Or in general, if you want to stay in standard words, it is directed toward the center of the earth, you have to mention. So this is about acceleration due to gravity, just remember. Now, whenever I am going to have the discussion related to vertical motion, I told you under two headings we have to study. What are those two headings? One is freely falling body. First one, freely falling body. Freely falling body. And the other one is vertically projected body. And the other one is vertical projection or vertically projected body. Vertically projected body. So under two headings we have to study this vertical motion now. Horizontal motion means only in one direction, in horizontal direction, however how it is moving, all the characteristics of that particular motion we have studied. Uniform acceleration, non-uniform acceleration, both we have studied for what? Horizontal motion, but to in a straight line path. When it comes to the vertical motion, okay, so freely falling body, a body has been dropped, what characteristics that body is supposed to have? Or what equations of motion that particular body is supposed to have. We have seen for the motion of a body in a straight line, we have written certain equations of motion. What do you call them as? Kinematic equations we have called. What is the need in writing the kinematic equations means? We can obtain any of the nature of the parameters like displacement, velocity, acceleration or time taken. Either of these parameters can be obtained by writing those equations or by studying or going through those equations of kinematics. We can obtain for nature of these parameters, any of these parameters for that particular motion. Here also, when I am going to drop a body from height h, how much time it takes to reach the ground, how I need to find out. There should be an equation corresponding to that. And by the time when I am going to drop here, right, what will be the velocity when it reaches the ground? I am going to drop a body from this height of 10 meters, let me say. Then by the time when it reaches the ground, what is the velocity it is supposed to be having, or what is the speed with which it reaches the ground? Somewhere at a window, if it is there at 5 meter mark, at that when it is going to cross the window, what is the speed with which it is going to cross, or what is the time it taken to come nearer to window? From window to ground, what is the distance, time it has taken to travel? So kind of all questions to be solved for freely falling body. At the same time, we need to study for a body which is going to be thrown vertically up. If a body has to be thrown up, what are all the constraints to be taken, and what similarly, till what height it is going to reach or what is the maximum height it is going to reach above the ground. If I am going to throw body certain velocity, what is the maximum height it will reach, and when once again it is going to come back into our hand after what time? Small ball I have thrown up, after what time it will come back to my hand. So these kind of constraints, if I want to study, we need to study the heading of what? Vertically projected body. Under two headings we have to study freely falling body and vertically projected body. That's what we have to study with. So we'll have a complete discussion related to this vertical motion under these two headings separately. And the first one we'll study is freely falling body. After complete discussion of this, Then we'll move on to vertically projected body. So under vertical motion, first thing we need to study is what? Freely falling body. Freely falling body. Now, I am going to consider this was the surface of the earth, a reference which I have taken. A body of certain mass is going to be dropped from a height h, let me say. From where it has been dropped means from a height of h. Height from which the body has been dropped is h. Dropped, I am talking, see, throughout this vertical motion what we are studying, we are bothered only for the motion under gravity. Motion under what? Gravity. Only gravity only it is going to be considered. Motion under gravity. Remember this. Entire vertical motion, what are all the points I have discussed in kinematics, unless it is specified as air resistance to be considered, you need not to bother about the air resistance. Keep this point in mind. Air resistance we are not at all we are going to consider. We are going to consider only the effect of what? Gravity for a body which is moving in vertical motion. In all the constants or equations what we will write, generally in atmosphere if I take, air will be present, right? If I am going to drop a ball from certain height, okay, and we will see that illustrations later, right? Ball or paper, both will have the same motion under gravity, but air resistance is taken, that is going to be quite different. So that means even I am going to say that a body is dropped from this height above the earth, that means we are talking about only gravity, we are not bothered about air resistance. Inclusion of air resistance we will see at the end of the sessions. The completion of all these under applications, how that influence or how that is going to happen, that we will study later. So this is purely under what? Gravity. Only for motion under gravity we are going to study this particular motion. Okay. So now a body a body is going to be dropped from certain height. Okay. Dropped means its initial velocity will be 0. Why? Because I am not throwing down here, holding here and I am going to drop it there, that's all. If I am going to drop it, I am not supposed to give any velocity for this. That's why initial velocity of the body is 0. What is the acceleration with which the body is moving now? I told you what acceleration is acted upon this node of, whether if I am going to leave it, if it is there itself, its acceleration is 0, isn't it? No force is trying it to make it to pull it down. But here which force is acting? Gravitational force. Hence the acceleration on the body is what? A equals to g. Whether A is g or plus g or minus g plus g. Why? Because acceleration is in the downward direction. Speed is increasing. That's why the value of A will be plus g. Now, I will consider somewhere an intermediate position where velocity of the particle be v be the velocity of the particle after traveling for a time of t seconds, okay, and it traveled for a displacement of some h or s, whatever it may be, displacement of s, let me say, it traveled a displacement of how much it is? Yes, by the time it attained a velocity v in a time of t seconds. See, once again I will recall, a body has been dropped freely. Dropped means its initial velocity is 0 from a height of h. Somewhere in its path when it is moving down, right, let's say it traveled for a displacement of s in a time of t seconds such that it attains a velocity v. Now, what are the equations of motion we need to write down for freely falling body? Equations of motion, equations of motion for freely falling body, okay. So equations of motion for freely falling body, we need to obtain the relations for these now. See here, throughout the motion the body is supposed to have uniform acceleration or non-uniform acceleration. It's my question, whether the body is supposed to have uniform or non-uniform acceleration. Which acceleration is acting here? G. Throughout it is constant. Throughout the motion it is constant. No one is applying any external force on it. And this will not be altered for smaller heights above the ground. We are all talking about dropping of a body only from limited height, not somewhere from 5,000 kilometers or some 50,000 kilometers. We are not talking about the surface of the earth. Within the premises of the earth, within some tens of kilometers, right? So this g value will not be altered. Meters, up above 100 meters, the value of g is same as that on the surface of the earth approximately. You're not bothered. That's why a is constant. Means what? A equals to g is constant. Means acceleration is constant. Means what are the equations of motion we have written? Just recall with equations what we are having is v equals to u plus at, and next s equals to ut plus half at square, and then v square equals to u square plus 2as, and nth formula also just what is nth? Displacement in the nth second. Nth will be equals to u plus a into n minus 1 by 2. That's what displacement will be in the nth second is u plus a into n minus 1 by 2. Now what happens to this relation now? For freely falling body, what is this equation? What is the initial velocity here? 0. A value is what? Plus g. Then what will be the velocity after a time of t seconds means? What is the velocity? V equals to, this is 0 plus a is nothing but what? G. That's why v equals to gt. This is one equation you have to remember for what? Freely falling body. For freely falling body, how to find velocity after a time of t seconds. Next, what is its displacement after a time of t seconds? Means what is its initial velocity for freely falling body? 0. Initial velocity is 0. That's why you can write it as s equals to half g t square. Directly I have written s equals to what? Half g t square. Why? A value is plus g, u value is how much? 0, and substituting for that after a time of t seconds, this displacement I am talking in a time of t seconds for freely falling body, this equation you have to make use. S equals to what? Half gt square. Similarly, v square equals to, I need to write this v in terms of s. V in terms of s I need to write, instead of t I need to write in terms of s. Initial velocity is how much? 0. Here a equals to g is constant and u is 0 also we are taken. Okay. So then what is the equation corresponding to this now? V square equals to 2 into g into s. This is the equation corresponding to relation among displacement and velocity after traveling the displacement of s. And how about Sn? See, u is 0 here, initial velocity, a is g, and writing this equation we will get Snth displacement in the nth second is g into n minus 1 by 2. This is the equation what we need to write for a body which is moving in or for a freely falling body. For a freely falling body, these are the equations of motion. For 2 marks if they ask, you have to write these equations. Okay, not only for board exam perspective, so problems on them, anything they are going to ask for a freely falling body, these are the equations to be considered. Okay, first one is v equals to gt. What is that represents? Velocity of the body, freely falling body after a time of t seconds. What is the speed or velocity after a time of t seconds means v equals to gt. Displacement of the freely falling body after a time of t seconds. Displacement after a time of t seconds means s equals to half gt square. What will be its velocity after traveling a displacement of s means v square equals to 2gs. V equals to root of 2gs I can write. Displacement in any of the nth second. Any of the second in 1 second, right? What is the displacement means? Snth equals to g into n minus 1 by 2. This is the equation what you have to remember for displacement of a freely falling body in the nth second. So this is all about the equations of motion what you have to remember for what? Freely falling body. So now we will make use of those equations to find out certain parameters. What motion parameters? They are called motion parameters, I will say. Generally we used to use these formulas which you have to remember. See? If a body is dropped from height h, listen to this question carefully, dropped from a height h, then time taken to reach this height h is above the ground, keep it in mind. A body is dropped from a height h above the ground, then time taken to reach the ground, and velocity on reaching the ground is, and velocity with which it reaches the ground, velocity with which it reaches the ground, or question mark. I want these two values here now. One is time taken to reach the ground, and one more is what? Velocity with which it reaches the ground. These two parameters I want here now. What are those? If a body is dropped from a height h, then time it takes to reach the ground, and one more is what? With what velocity it is going to hit the ground. These two parameters here and there, usually will be using those formulas as standard notations or standard formulas. You have to remember these two. See here, what are those? What they are given? From what height they are going to drop a body? They are going to drop a body from a height of h. Okay, na? With what velocity it will reach the ground, and what is the time taken to reach the ground. These two are the parameters they are asking, right? So now, see carefully. Height from which dropped we are having means displacement when it reaches the ground is h. Time taken is t, means I can make use of this relation, right? So here h equals to what I can write? Half gt square, or the value of t equals to what you will get here now? Root of 2h by g. This is that? Root of 2h by g. This is the formula to write down time taken by a freely falling body when it is dropped from a height of h to reach the ground. Time taken by a freely falling body to reach the ground is how much? Root of 2h by g. Also, see, what will be its velocity after travelling a displacement of h? Velocity after travelling a displacement of s is v square equals to what? 2gs. Also, v square equals to 2 into g into h. From this what I can write? V equals to root of 2gh. V equals to what? Root of 2gh. So, these two relations are very, very important. Whenever I am going to ask for these two, you should be able to recall into your mind. You have to remember them. A body dropped from height h means immediately time taken is root 2h by g. What is the velocity on reaching the ground means? Don't think that dropped, sir, it reaches the ground, after reaching it will come to rest, no, then you are writing v equals to root 2gh, it should be 0, no, you should not ask for it. Why? Because we are talking about velocity with which it reaches the ground, means it is going to hit the ground before coming to rest. After hitting, no doubt after some time it will come to rest. We are bothered of before it is going to hit the ground, with what speed it is going to hit. It is what? Root 2gh. You can say with what velocity it is going to, it reaches the ground or it is going to hit the ground is root of 2gh. I hope these all the equations corresponding to what? A freely falling body you can remember. These are very, very important as far as freely falling body equations are concerned. How they are going to ask the problems or questions on them we will study now. In relation to this particular what we have studied, right? What they are going to ask the questions. Small simple examples I will give there. We'll just look back for that. Hope you have taken all the equations there. Next. See, I will say a body has been dropped from certain height, no doubt above the ground, do not know height from where it is dropped, it has been dropped from certain height. Now, what are the ratio of velocities by the time it travels? T1 seconds, T2 seconds, T3 seconds and so on, means from here to here time taken is T1, here to here is T2, from here to here is T, these are all for competitive. How they are going to ask the questions on this particular topic which we have studied. Some examples I will give, you go through few more depth of the problems related to the same in competitive, we will discuss at the end of the chapter. Okay. So, what is the velocities at these instants they are asking? This is V1 at this instant, here it is V2, at this instant it is V3 and so on. The ratio of speeds of a freely falling body after a time of T1 seconds, T2 seconds, T3 seconds and so on. How to write down? V1, V2, V3 and so on. It will be equals to how much they are asking. Here what will be the velocity of the body after traveling a time of t seconds? You know this relation for freely falling body, what we have written? V equals to gt. Means here I can write this one as gt1, gt2, next gt3 and so on. See, throughout g is common, right? It will get cancelled. Remaining is what? V1, V2, V3 and so on. Means you can say that V is directly proportional to t. As the t value increasing, correspondingly the value of V also goes on, increases accordingly. This is V1, V2, V3 ratio is how much? T1, T2, T3 and so on. This is how you need to remember for the equation. How they will ask problems on them, on the equations which you have studied till now. I hope you got this point. The same question I will ask you here now. What are the ratios of displacements travelled during these times? This is S1 it travelled, it is S2. This is S3, means in T1 seconds it travelled S1, in T2 it travelled S2, in T3 it travelled S3 and so on. Then what is the ratio of displacements travelled? This is, first one is what? Ratio of velocities, ratio of velocities in T1, T2, T3 and so on seconds it is. And next one is ratio of displacements, in T1, right, next T2, T3 seconds and so on. Ratio of the displacements the body covered in T1 seconds, T2 seconds, T3 seconds and so on. How to find out? You know, what is the value of displacement in a time of t seconds? Formula what you have written? S equals to half g t square. See, this g by 2 is a constant here, nothing to bother. So then how it is? S is directly proportional to t square. Means S1, S2, S3 and so on will be equals to how? This is T1 square, T2 square, T3 square and so on. This is one more equation, one more application they may ask the problem. I hope what equations we have written, right? So why we have written the equations? For solving the problems of this kind. This is the nature of the questions how they are going to ask for the equations of motion for a freely falling body. Simple examples I have given. Shall I take one complicated question here? Just one complicated question I am going to consider. See, the same freely falling body itself I am going to consider, same freely falling body. I want the ratio of times taken. I want the ratio of what? Time taken to travel. First meter, second meter, third meter, fourth meter and so on. Or firstly, one more application let me write down there. I hope you got these points. I am going to rub this now. See, if you think it is speeding up, you can pause the video and you can copy all the points. Okay, see here, if you think that I know S1, S2, S2, they are asking the ratios of T1, T2, T3 now. Ratio of times taken to travel, ratio of what? Times taken to travel 1 meter, comma 2 meters, 3 meters, 4 meters, means time taken to travel 1 meter, means this is 1 meter you can imagine. Time taken to travel 2 meters, from the beginning to here is 2 meters. Time taken to travel 3 meters, from here to here is 3 meters, means I can write these values as what now? This is 1 meter, this is total distance 2 meters, this is 3 meter and so on. What is the ratio of the times taken here now? What is the formula for time taken for a displacement of h? We have written one formula, just now I asked you to remember that T equals to root of 2h by g. To travel a displacement of h, time taken is root of 2h by g. Hence, you can write T equals to root of 2h by g we are having. See, 2 and g are constants here. That's why t is directly proportional to root h. Time taken is directly proportional to what? Root h. Here what are the displacements we are having? H values we are having are what? 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter, 4 meter and so on. So from this I can write T1, T2, T3 and so on will be equals to, in place of h what I need to write now? 1 meter, this is root 1 is to 2 meters means root 2 is to root 3 is to root 4 is to and so on. Time taken to travel n meters for that ratio root n. That's what you have to remember, nth order. Now my question is, this is very simple. You can write easily like ratio of time taken to travel 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter means root 1, root 2, root 3 I can write. But my question now is, I am not supposed to intend to do this. This is very simple. You can also write. Time taken to travel first meter. This is what first meter? Huh? First meter, okay. Time taken to travel second meter. Second meter means this is total 2 meters. What is the meaning of second meter? Second, I am not talking about 2 meters here. 2 meters means right from beginning to here is 2 meters. Second meter means what? First completed. This is second. This is second meter. Keep this point in mind. Third meter means 2 completed, after 2, before 3. What do you call this one as? This is third meter. Third meter. I hope you got the point. From here to here is first meter, no doubt. 1 meter or first meter both are on the same. And after 1, before 2. Distance will be there, no? From 1 meter to 2 meter, that is the second meter. Distance from 2 to 3 is what? Third meter. And then similarly, fourth meter means 3 meters to 4 meters distance is what? Fourth meter, fifth meter. I want that ratio now. See, I am going to rub this once again. The ratio of times taken to travel, see, first meter, this is first meter, comma, second meter, first meter, second meter, and then third meter, and so on. This ratio I want here. What is the ratio of times taken to travel first meter? First meter means distance traveled for first meter. This one only I can write. Now coming back to this is T1 I will write. What is T1 means? T1 equals to root of 2 into 1 divided by g. First meter means, or it is root 2 by g I can write. No problem. This is the time for second meter. From here to here is T2. From here to here is T1. Then this time taken for the second meter means what I can write? This is for first meter. Time taken for second meter will be equals to time taken for second meter. Time taken for 2 meters minus time taken for 1 meter. That means T2 minus T1. What is the formula for T2? We have already written. This is root of 2 into h by g. H is what? 2 meters here. Minus root of 2 into 1 by g. Like this. Third meter, see, now with this example you should get clarity now. With this third one I am going to write. Third meter means what now? Time taken to travel for this 3 meter, T3, minus time taken to travel this 2 meters, T2, means time taken for the third meter will be equals to, time taken for third meter will be equals to T3 minus T2. That means root of 2 into root 3 by g minus root of 2 into 2 by g, like this. I hope you can write for T4th now. T4th will be equals to what? Time taken for fourth meter is T4 minus T3. So that is root of 2 into 4 by g minus root of 2 into 3 by g. So like this. See, throughout if you take root 2 by g is constant, right? So then I can say this is proportional to root 1. This is proportional to root 2 minus root 1. This is proportional to what? Root 3 minus root 2. And this is proportional to what? Root 4 minus root 3 and so on. Therefore, the time taken for these intervals, see what you will get now? Ratios, which ratios you have to find? T first, right from here, see. Ratios of the time taken, they are asking you to find out, This is time taken for first meter, time taken for second meter, time taken for third meter, and so on will be equals to, see now what you will get, first meter ratio means what you got, root 1 is to, second meter means what you got, root 2 minus root 1, getting, third meter means what, see, third meter means root 3 minus root 2 and so on. Nth meter means, time instant for the nth meter means what you need to write, finally you can write root n minus root of n minus 1, this is for the nth meter. That's how we need to write for time, ratios of the times taken for what, time taken to travel for first meter, second meter, third meter and so on. This is all about the time taken by freely falling body to travel, the ratio of the time taken for what, first, second, third, fourth and so on. See, this is the way how they are going to ask applications or problems related to the equations of motion for freely falling body which we have written. So, that is the reason why you have to remember those formulas related to or equations of motion related to those freely falling body directly. So, that is about freely falling body, some points related to that. A few more we will discuss by the time when we are going to solve the problems. We are going to come across some more points related to that, we will see. Next, these are the points about freely falling body. Now, we will see with vertically projected body. I told you under two headings we have to study here. So, one is freely falling body, the other one is vertically projected body. Vertical motion, and that one more heading is what? Vertically projected body. So, we have to study. Vertically projected body. See, corresponding graphs for both the motions I will give at the end, I will discuss them, just have an idea. Vertically projected body. Vertically projected body. So, what is this vertical projection? What is the meaning of vertically projected body? So, generally freely falling body means if I drop a body from this side or from somewhere from that place, you know, okay, somewhere from certain height, if I am going to drop the body, what happens? No doubt you need not to give any initial velocity for it, it just falls, not a problem. But whereas when it comes to vertical projection, I am having chalk here on my hand, right? I just want to throw it up. Simply if I say move up, will it move up there? No. Just by saying some word it will move up, whether just like how you have dropped a body, will it move up in the same way? No. So, what is required? You have to give some velocity for it. I am going to give some velocity. At the same time, I am not going to give continuously any force under this, no need. If I am going to give some velocity and if I am going to leave, it can move up. That's nature we have to study now, that nature of the motion. When I am going to give some velocity for this, definitely it is going to rise up. What happens by the time when it is moving up? So, it is very clear that it moves once again under what? Gravity. Only gravitational force acts on it after you are going to remove your velocity. By the time when you give some small velocity on it, I am going to give a small plug for that, and if I am going to leave it. A small velocity if you are going to give and if I am going to leave, what happens? No any other force is acting on it except gravity. It just moves only under gravity. As it is moving up, gravitational force is trying to pull it back in the opposite direction. That is why its speed goes on, decreases as it moves up. As this body which is thrown vertically up, right? So, as it is going to be moving up, gravitational force is trying to pull it down, pull it back onto the surface of the earth. So, means their acceleration due to gravity becomes what? Retardation. its speed is going to be decreasing with the time. What is the retardation you are giving? G, small g, 9.8 meter per second square. So that now this acceleration will have uniform retardation. Slowly it goes up, its speed goes on, decreases. As it reaches the maximum height, what happens? Its velocity will become 0. If its velocity becomes 0, still there is some acceleration acting throughout the motion. A will be in the downward direction only. That is what G. So that means after reaching the maximum height, once again it is going to make the transition back in the opposite direction. Means G is trying to pull it down back in the opposite direction. Hence it is going to fall down from the maximum height what it has reached. So now this particular motion has to be studied under the heading of what? Vertically projected body. Now I am going to consider such a kind of body. See, a body which is thrown vertically up with certain velocity. Body is thrown vertically up with certain velocity. No doubt it moves up, and finally when it reaches the maximum height, right? So this is H maximum, I will say. This is initial velocity I have given, U is initial velocity, and this is the maximum height was the body has reached, H maximum, right? And when it reaches the maximum height, what happens now? Its velocity will become 0. What happens to its velocity? 0. And also when it is thrown vertically up, no doubt you are going to give some initial velocity U, no problem. It moves under what actually? Gravity. Acceleration is what we are talking about, uniform acceleration only. Na? What is the value of A? Minus G. Why I have written minus G here? Body is moving up, but its acceleration is in which direction? Downward direction, opposite. That's why I have taken the value of A as what? Minus G. If it is moving down, I would have taken A equals to plus G. In the previous case we have studied. In case of freely falling body, we have taken the value of A equals to what? Plus G. Reason is, its motion is in the direction of acceleration. Positive value, speed increases. Whereas here, its motion is opposite to the direction of acceleration. That's why negative sign I have taken. Means what? Its speed goes on, decreases. Now, this is final velocity on reaching the maximum height. Now, I am going to take in somewhere in between, it travelled a displacement of S by the time it attained a velocity V in a time of t seconds. Just like usually how we used to study. The same point I am going to consider here. What is that? It travelled for a displacement of S in a time of t seconds so that it attains a velocity V. What is the velocity it has attained? V in a time of t seconds. Meanwhile, it travelled a displacement of S. We need to write the same kinematic equations what we have written, like when it has been thrown up, by the time when it is moving up, what will be its velocity after a time of t seconds? How we need to write? Similarly, after t seconds, where the particle is or what is the displacement or at what height the particle is, how to find out displacement after a time of t seconds. And in the same way, what will be its velocity after travelling a displacement of S, relation among V and S also you have to write. So, these are the equations which you have to write. Okay. So, throughout the motion which is vertically up, what are the equations we are having here? V equals to, one is kinematic equations I am going to recall. V equals to U plus AT, means here what I need to suppose to write? Here U is U itself, but what is the value of A? Minus G. That's why I need to write this one as V equals to U minus GT. This is first kinematic equation for what? Vertically projected body. They'll ask for 2 marks. Next, S equals to UT plus half AT square. S equals to what? UT plus half AT square. What we need to write for it? S equals to UT minus half GT square. This is the equation which you have to remember for what? Displacement after a time of t seconds. And then V square equals to U square plus 2AS. This can be written as V square equals to U square minus 2 into G into S. This is the formula you have to write for body which is thrown vertically up or vertically projected body, equations of motion. One more Sn also you can write. What is the formula for Sn? U plus A into N minus 1 by 2. This equation we are going to rewrite as Sn equals to U minus G into N minus 1 by 2. Sn equals to U minus G into N minus 1 by 2. This is what? Displacement of the body in the nth second for vertically projected body. This is displacement after t seconds. This is displacement in the nth second. for vertically projected body. These are equations of motion for vertically projected body. You can write the heading as vertically projected body, equations of motion for these points. Equations of motion for vertically projected body. Whenever they are supposed to ask these derivations or obtain the expressions for or obtain the equations of vertically projected body, means initially some prescription you have to write in the beginning. What initiation you have to do while writing this problem or while deriving the relation means, let us consider a body which is thrown vertically up with a velocity u. Let us consider a body which is thrown vertically up with a velocity u, so that it travels for a time of t seconds and for a displacement of s attains a velocity v. It travels for a time of t seconds for a displacement of s and attains velocity v. This is the initial data which you have to write. We know for vertically projected body, acceleration is a equals to minus g. You have to suppose to write that point, and then you have to write, we have the kinematic equations for body moving with uniform acceleration are v equals to u plus at, hence v equals to u minus gt. Similarly, s equals to ut plus half at square, in the sense s equals to ut minus half gt square. So these equations you have to correspondingly you have to write. These are all equations of motion for vertically projected body. Just like freely falling body applications, I have given a few, right? For freely falling body, what applications we have studied? Like ratio of times taken, or what is the time taken to reach the ground, what will be the speed with which it hits the ground. So kind of applications we have studied. The same way here also, we are going to write certain equations or certain parameters we are going to study for vertically projected body. What those equations are, what those parameters, which to call them as motion parameters. Motion parameters means there are some standard terminology which you have to make use from here on in kinematics for certain terms. Like a body is projected vertically up, then what is the maximum height traveled by the body? Means they will give velocity with which it has been thrown up. What is the maximum height it can be reached above the ground? This maximum height is how much? We have to write a relation for it. Time of ascent, so one new terminology it is. What is that? Time of ascent means time it taken from point of projection, from where you are going to throw the body, that is called what? Point of projection. And this is any body which you are going to throw is a projectile. What do you call that as? A projectile. The one which is going to be projection means throwing. Based on how you are going to throw, you can name it in different ways. That projectile means anything which is going to be thrown into air is projectile. Keep this point in mind. If it is thrown vertically up, then it is vertically projected body. That's what vertically projected body we have written, vertical projection. If I am going to throw it horizontally, then horizontal projectile. Oblique projectile, that in next chapter we are going to study in continuation of that. Both combination of horizontal and vertical motion is oblique projectile. So that we will study in the coming sessions in the next chapter. Motion in a plane, we are going to study about that. Nothing to bother as of now. Okay. So, and then equations are vertically projected body it is, right? If it is going to be thrown vertically up, it is a vertically projected body. So I told you time of ascent. This is the point of projection. This is a place where I am going to throw the body vertically up. From the point of projection to reach the maximum height. From point of projection to reach the maximum height. What is the time it has taken for that journey? We used to call it as time of ascent. And from that maximum height, it is going to make the transition back to same point of projection. From which point you are projected to the same point, it should come back again after it has been reaching the from maximum height to the point of projection. That time we used to call it as time of descent. What do you call that as? Time of descent. Time of ascent means from the point of projection to reach the maximum height. Time is time of ascent, and from maximum height to reach the point of projection, time is time of descent. And this total time from the point of projection to go to the maximum height to come back to the same point, that is flight, time of flight. You have to call it as time of flight. Time of flight is the sum of time of ascent and time of descent, you can say. Sum of time of ascent and time of descent itself is what? Time of flight. So these three motion parameters we have to study for a body which is thrown vertically up. So that how we need to write the expressions for them, we will study. So I hope you got these points related to equations of equations of motion for vertically projected body. So next you take the heading as motion parameters for vertically projected body. Motion parameters for vertically projected body. Take the heading motion parameters. What motion parameters? I told you 3 of them. In this is motion parameters of vertically projected body. So just cross check with the time how much we are left out. Okay. So I think we have done for today. The same concept of motion parameters of vertically projected body and the applications of them, I will discuss the same in the next session. For this I am going to wind up. We are going to start with motion parameters in the coming session. We are going to have the discussion. I hope you got all the points of today for vertical motion. Under 2 headings we are studying the vertical motion. One is freely falling body and vertically projected body. For freely falling body, all the equations, how it is going to be written, we have written equations of motion for freely falling body, and a few applications we have studied based on that. How we need to write the equations of, using those equations, how we can apply those for finding out various parameters like time taken to reach the ground, displacement it travelled in time t seconds, and so on, so applications. And we have written equations of motion for what? Vertically projected body. In continuation to that, we have to write the expression for what? Motion parameters of vertically projected body. So with this I am going to wind up the session, go through with all the points what we have studied. Have an NCERT textbook with you, just go through with the points corresponding to the topics which we have dealt today, right? The same points you can go through, example problems on them you can able to solve, and in continuation of that we are going to discuss this in the next session again. Fine, thank you.